You've been told to think positive, raise your vibe, and chase the light, but no one told you that real evolution begins in the dark. That beneath every spiritual breakthrough lies an emotional breakdown most people refuse to face. While the world obsesses over manifestation hacks and instant enlightenment, the true path to transformation starts with something far less glamorous: confronting your shadow. And here's the kicker. If you skip this part, you're not evolving, you're escaping. The law of one reveals that Earth, right now, is navigating the raw intensity of third density consciousness, and ignoring the pain only strengthens the illusion. Most people are trapped in spiritual bypassing, mistaking good vibes for genuine growth. But Ra was clear. Third density is about choice, polarity, and facing your deepest distortions with courage. It's not about suppressing anger. It's about alchemizing it. It's not about avoiding conflict. It's about seeing it as a mirror. And the more we avoid doing our shadow work, the more we attract the very catalysts that force us to. So why not flip the script? What if the chaos in your life wasn't punishment, but a sacred invitation to remember who you truly are? In this video, you'll discover the real mechanics behind collective suffering, emotional triggers, and global chaos, and why they're actually signs of progress. You'll learn why healing your inner world is the key to shifting the outer one. And most of all, you'll finally understand how embracing the darkness is what activates your light. So if you're tired of shallow answers and ready for soul-level truth, this is where your journey gets real. Not prettier, but powerful beyond belief. Chapter 1. The current evolutionary shift on Earth. There's something stirring on this planet, something subtle but unstoppable. You can feel it in the air, in the way people question old systems, in the way they crave deeper meaning. According to the law of one, humanity is undergoing a major vibrational shift from the third density of self-awareness and separation into the fourth density of love and unity. This transition isn't some vague metaphysical theory. It's a tangible reconfiguration of consciousness playing out in our daily lives. And while some people sense this change through spiritual awakenings, others feel it as restlessness, anxiety, or even a deep longing they can't quite explain. Ra teaches that the journey of the soul unfolds through 7 densities of consciousness, with third density being the most intense and fleeting. It's in this dense realm that souls make the defining choice, to serve others or serve the self. But now, as Earth herself shifts into a fourth density vibration, a process that began around 2012, those choices are becoming more obvious, more urgent. The energy is different. Old karmic cycles are speeding up, pushing unresolved emotional patterns to the surface. The veil between dimensions is thinning, and you can almost hear the whisper of unity calling us forward. Interestingly, the very tools once blamed for disconnection are becoming gateways to unity. The internet, despite all its noise, has become a global mirror. Through memes, videos, and even chaotic comment sections, people are waking up to the illusion of separation. Technology and spirituality are no longer opposites. They're beginning to merge. It's no coincidence that movements for collective healing, shadow work, and emotional integration are exploding online. We're not just sharing cat videos. We're sharing breakthroughs, catalysts, and awakenings. It's messy, but evolution always is. What we're seeing is the unraveling of fear-based structures, political, religious, and even internal ones. As more people activate their heart chakra and awaken to unity consciousness, old paradigms begin to dissolve. This doesn't mean utopia is knocking tomorrow, but it does mean the momentum is undeniable. From eco-communities to energy healing, from quantum physics to intuitive living, we're witnessing the rise of higher consciousness on a mass scale. And guess what? You're not just watching it, you're part of it. You're helping shift Gaia's frequency every time you choose empathy over apathy, connection over division. The signs are everywhere if you're paying attention. More people are talking about spiritual evolution, vibrational shift, and the importance of aligning with divine intelligence. The push toward transformation is intensifying, nudging us not only to awaken, but to remember who we are, where we come from, and what we're capable of becoming. And once we start remembering that, we're ready to explore the deeper structure that underlies this whole process, the roadmap laid out by the 7 densities of consciousness. Chapter 2. Understanding the 7 densities of consciousness. The universe doesn't evolve randomly. It follows a rhythm, a sacred order. According to Ra and the Law of One, consciousness progresses through 7 densities, each representing a specific lesson in spiritual evolution. First density is where it all begins. Earth, air, fire, and water, pure being. There's no awareness yet, just existence. Think of a rock absorbing sunlight or a river flowing downhill. Simple, primal experiences that lay the groundwork for more complex forms of life. It's easy to overlook, but this stage is just as vital as any other. Every skyscraper started as minerals. Every soul started here. Next comes second density, awareness without self-awareness. Plants stretching toward the sun, animals forming tribes, and learning to navigate instinctual life. This is where Gaia's energy really begins to dance. Pets are a beautiful example. They exist in this second density state, but through human connection, they begin to sense something more. That's the bridge into third density, the one we know so well, self-awareness. Suddenly, beings realize, I am. And with that realization comes choice. Here, we encounter the grand spiritual catalyst, polarization between service to self and service to others. It's the most dramatic and transformative of all densities. Now, fourth density, where we're headed, is the vibration of love and unity. It's not about perfection, but about realizing that separation is an illusion. Compassion becomes currency. The heart chakra opens, and people begin to feel the emotional guidance system within them. You may notice it already. People rejecting toxic work cultures, seeking meaning, desiring connection. It's no accident. As Earth shifts toward this new frequency, more individuals are tuning in. It's a collective awakening. And yes, it's messy, but it's also miraculous. Fifth density is wisdom. After the chaos and emotion of the fourth, beings here begin to refine their understanding. Think of it like spiritual adolescence giving way to mature insight. These beings are often unseen helpers, guides, advanced entities who assist humanity without interference. They've integrated love and now seek clarity. But even wisdom alone isn't the end. Sixth density merges love and wisdom into perfect balance. It's where polarity dissolves and unity begins to crystallize. Ra himself is a sixth density collective, teaching without control, offering truth to those who are ready. Finally, we reach seventh density, the gateway back to source. Here, individual identity becomes obsolete. There is no you or me, just the infinite creator expressing itself through everything. It's the end of one cycle and the seed of another. And while that might sound distant or abstract, knowing this cosmic map helps us navigate where we are now. It puts third density chaos into perspective and reminds us that every breakdown is just a step toward breakthrough, especially when we understand that our choices, our polarization, shape the trajectory of our soul. Chapter 3. Polarization. Service to self versus service to others. In a third density, souls stand at a spiritual crossroads, And the choice they make here echoes far beyond one lifetime. Ra explains that this is the density of self-awareness and decision-making, where beings must polarize, service to self or service to others. This isn't a moral judgment, it's an energetic alignment. One path embraces unity and compassion, the other seeks power and control. But both are valid expressions of the one infinite creator. That's the part most people miss. Even darkness, when deeply explored, teaches us something about light. Service to others is the positive polarity, heart-centered, expansive, and attuned to unity consciousness. It's when you recognize that helping another is helping yourself, because, at the deepest level, there is no separation. Acts of kindness, emotional availability, deep listening, and even standing up for justice are all expressions of this path. Simple things count. Forgiving a grudge, supporting a friend without expecting anything back, or just choosing empathy over indifference in your daily interactions. These are not small gestures. They shift planetary consciousness drop by drop. On the flip side, service to self is all about consolidation of energy, control, influence. It's hierarchical, manipulative, and thrives in fear-based systems. But here's the twist. This path still requires tremendous discipline and clarity. The so-called dark path isn't lazy, it's intentional. Beings on this trajectory often rise to positions of power, becoming catalysts for others' awakening by pushing contrast to its limits. They show us what we don't want, so we can clearly define what we do. It's all part of the game, and Earth has no shortage of these players. But fourth density doesn't play by the same rules. Love is the baseline, not an exception. The service to others path becomes the natural current, while the service to self path grows increasingly unsustainable. Why? Because unity consciousness doesn't support separation forever. The heart chakra thrives on connection, and the vibrational shift happening now favors cooperation, not domination. So even those who once sought control may find themselves pulled toward compassion, not out of guilt, but because love simply feels better. It resonates more deeply with the soul's true essence. That said, third density still offers the perfect playground to choose. It's like the spiritual Wild West, intense, unpredictable, and full of catalysts. Every relationship, every conflict, every power dynamic is an opportunity to ask, which path am I reinforcing right now? And as we begin to recognize these moments of choice, we naturally move toward deeper growth. But growth, of course, often comes wrapped in discomfort. That's where Catalyst comes in. Chapter 4. The Role of Catalyst in Spiritual Growth. Catalyst isn't always pretty, but it's always purposeful. In the Law of One, Ra emphasizes that spiritual evolution doesn't happen by accident. It's triggered. Catalyst is life's way of nudging, shaking, or sometimes drop-kicking us out of complacency. It's that breakup you didn't see coming, the job you thought you'd never lose, the illness that forced you to slow down. Painful? Absolutely. Meaningless? Never. Every challenge is a coded invitation to expand your self-awareness, to break free from the identity built on fear and limitation. People often think awakening should feel blissful, like floating in meditation or hugging crystals in the forest. And while those moments do happen, they're not where the deepest growth lies. Real transformation often comes from sitting in the fire, facing your shadow, letting go of egoic pride, and asking the hard questions. Why did I attract this? What am I meant to see here? That's where Catalyst works its magic. It strips away illusions so the heart chakra can open, exposing raw emotional truth that begs to be seen, felt, and released. Right now, humanity is swimming in Catalyst. Global crises, social polarization, economic instability. None of this is random. The collective shadow is rising to the surface, demanding to be acknowledged. This isn't just about corrupt politicians or broken systems. It's about the fear, anger, and guilt we all carry inside. Healing the world starts with facing our own energetic baggage. Shadow work isn't a trendy buzzword. It's the foundational process required for fourth density ascension, and avoiding it just delays the inevitable. Want to know where to start? Observe your triggers. Every emotional reaction, jealousy, defensiveness, irritation, is a golden breadcrumb. Instead of blaming your boss, your partner, or the traffic, take a deep breath and ask, what part of me feels unsafe right now? That's shadow work in action. Journaling helps. Meditation helps. Books like The Untethered Soul or The Dark Side of the Light Chasers can be game changers. But nothing works if you're not willing to feel. And feeling, especially the uncomfortable stuff, is the gateway to transformation. The more you accept catalyst instead of resisting it, the faster you grow. You begin to see every challenge as a spiritual upgrade in disguise. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what's this showing me? And once you embrace that mindset, you're ready to navigate not only your own evolution, but also the future of humanity itself, where technology, consciousness, and unity will collide in ways we're only beginning to imagine. Chapter 5: Technology and the Future of Humanity. Let's get one thing straight. Technology isn't the enemy of spirituality. It's the mirror. What we create outside reflects where we are inside. The internet, for example, didn't just connect devices. It connected consciousness. It exposed corruption, amplified truth, and allowed light workers and seekers to find each other across the globe. This is no small thing. It's a massive step in collective awakening. Raw emphasized the role of catalyst, and modern tech is a catalyst like no other. Used wisely, it becomes an accelerator for spiritual evolution and unity consciousness. We're entering a phase where the artificial and the metaphysical will no longer be separate. Think about it. AI models are beginning to mimic intuitive processes. Quantum computing is unraveling concepts that metaphysics has hinted at for centuries. This isn't just science fiction. It's the soft merging of density evolution with technological expansion. The law of one reminds us that consciousness is the foundation of everything. So imagine the possibilities when our tech begins to reflect not just our intelligence, but our compassion, our awareness, our vibration. Sure, the system still clings to outdated power structures, but that's changing fast. Centralized authority, be it government, media, or finance, is cracking under the pressure of decentralized innovation. Blockchain, decentralized communities, regenerative farming, even digital nomadism. They're all signs of people reclaiming free will. We're shifting from dependence to self-sufficiency, from exploitation to co-creation. The collective healing of humanity is being coded into new systems, brick by digital brick. In the next decade, expect some wild shifts. Hunger, disease, and scarcity may no longer be permanent problems. With tech aligning to higher consciousness, healing modalities will emerge that blend sacred geometry, frequency medicine, and neuroscience. Energy fields will be mapped like DNA. Think Nikola Tesla meets Gaia. Education will evolve into inner exploration, and even time itself may feel less linear as our awareness expands. And yeah, space travel isn't off the table. The stars are just another classroom in this cosmic curriculum. But let's not skip ahead too quickly. All of this hinges on intention. Technology isn't inherently light or dark. It amplifies the polarity we feed it. That's why it's so crucial we continue our shadow work, our emotional integration, and our heart-centered living. Because when humanity finally moves from using tech to escape itself into using it to elevate itself, we'll witness the birth of a new kind of civilization. And that birth won't happen without labor, without pain. That's where the next stage comes in. Chapter 6. The shadow work necessary for transition. No one gets to skip the shadow work. Not individuals, not civilizations. As Earth shifts into fourth density, all the unresolved junk of third density has to be seen, felt, and transmuted. That includes the collective trauma humanity has carried for millennia. Colonialism, war, religious dogma, emotional repression. It's all stored in our planetary consciousness like corrupted files in a hard drive. Ra made it clear. Before you can ascend in love and unity, you must confront the illusion of separation within. There's no shortcut, only integration. The good news? We don't need to fix everything all at once. What we need is honesty, radical, soul-level honesty. Why am I afraid of vulnerability? Why do I seek control in relationships? Why do I reject those who don't think like me? These aren't just personal questions. They're mirrors of a larger energetic field. Emotional triggers are spiritual diagnostics. Every time you're irritated by someone's voice or feel insecure scrolling through Instagram, that's not random. That's the unconscious knocking, asking for light. And light, as we know, heals. The pandemic was a planetary catalyst, plain and simple. It cracked open the collective heart, forcing people into solitude, fear, and deep existential reflection. The systems we thought were solid, healthcare, education, economy, were revealed to be fragile at best. That wasn't failure. It was revelation. Gaia is purging. This isn't just a shift in circumstance. It's a vibrational detox. But if we respond with blame, denial, or spiritual bypassing, we only prolong the pain. Healing means leaning in, not checking out. Practical advice: start journaling your emotional reactions. When you're angry, ask yourself what memory it's tied to. When you're jealous, ask what part of you feels unworthy. Read books like Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach or It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wolin. These resources offer tools to decode emotional pain. And most importantly, meditate. Stillness is the gateway where your inner wounds reveal themselves. Don't just seek the light. Sit in the dark long enough to understand its language. The more we each do this inner excavation, the more the collective heals. Imagine millions of people dissolving their inner wars instead of projecting them outward. That's not utopia. That's the recipe for a fourth density civilization. But before we arrive there, we'll need to pass through one more eye of the needle. A future that's already on the horizon, whispering through timelines and dreams, waiting for those who can hold the vision of unity long enough to manifest it. Chapter 7. Looking at the near future. The future isn't written in stone, but its energy is already vibrating through the now. If you're tuned in, you can feel it. The Law of One describes Earth as having fully entered fourth density vibration, and the 2020s are acting as the integration phase. What does that look like in practice? A massive collective awakening. People questioning everything: governments, religions, capitalism, even their own identities. That's not chaos, that's evolution. It's like a cosmic detox, purging old belief systems to make room for something far more aligned with unity consciousness. Institutions built on fear and control are cracking under their own weight. You see in failing political systems, broken education models, and collapsing media trust. These structures were rooted in third density polarity, us versus them, hierarchy, dominance. But the vibrational shift we're experiencing no longer supports those energies. Ra pointed to the power of free will, and humanity is finally using it to unplug. More people are opting out of the matrix, choosing to grow their own food, homeschool their kids, or build decentralized communities. These are not fringe movements anymore. They're seeds of a new reality. And then there's the rise of tech, but not just any tech. We're talking about AI with consciousness, energy devices that mimic zero-point fields, even early glimpses of anti-gravity propulsion. As science begins to acknowledge metaphysics, the boundary between spiritual and scientific will vanish. Healing will evolve from chemistry to frequency. Intuition will be validated by quantum measurements. Imagine doctors prescribing vibrational recalibrations instead of pills, or schools teaching emotional intelligence alongside sacred geometry. That's not utopia. It's the logical evolution of higher consciousness blended with technology. What's more, we'll likely see an increase in contact with extraterrestrial consciousness. Ra made it clear, Earth is being watched, guided, and protected during this planetary shift. As our vibrational frequency rises, the veil between densities thins, and contact becomes inevitable. But don't expect flying saucers over Times Square. It'll start subtly, in dreams, downloads, synchronicities, and messages delivered through telepathic resonance. Disclosure won't come from the top down. It'll rise from within, as each person awakens to their galactic heritage. This coming decade won't just be about innovation, it'll be about integration. Integrating heart and mind, science and spirit, self and other. We're entering what could be a golden age, not because it's handed to us, but because we're finally choosing it. And that choice opens the door to healing our third density shadow, a process that begins with facing what we've suppressed, denied, and ignored for far too long. Conclusion: you just need to begin. You've just seen the blueprint for healing not just your wounds, but the collective shadow of an entire species. But now comes the real test. What are you going to do with this wisdom? Will you continue numbing your triggers, blaming the world, and pretending it's someone else's responsibility to evolve? Or will you pause, truly pause, and feel what's been asking for your attention all along? Because the next step doesn't require a guru or a retreat in Bali. It starts in your next conversation, your next reaction, your next breath. You don't need to fix everything at once. You just need to begin. Journal the pattern that won't let go. Sit with the fear you keep pushing away. Speak the truth you've been too polite to share. That's where your power lives, in the discomfort you've been trained to avoid. And if this journey feels overwhelming, that's because it's sacred. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to be whole. And healing your shadow is the only way back to that wholeness. Let that sink in. So now I ask you, what part of you are you finally ready to meet? What version of yourself is waiting on the other side of honesty, of feeling, of radical self-responsibility? If this video moved something inside you, don't let it stop here. Drop a comment sharing what part of the shadow you're ready to transmute. And make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because the path doesn't end here. It's only beginning. Let's walk this together, one truth at a time.